What are estimating factors?
Productivity and utilization are the two factors we are concerned with when doing estimating for projects. Both of these factors are applicable to cost as well as schedule estimates. Productivity is a measure of how much faster or slower a particular resource is from the normal resource. A person who is very good or very experienced at what they do will probably take less time and make fewer mistakes than a new person with little experience. Productivity factors allow us to adjust the cost or the duration of the task depending on the particular individual used. Utilization is another adjustment factor to the cost estimate. Utilization is based on the idea that even though we pay someone for a full 8-hour day, the person seldom, if ever, actually works the full 8 hours. Utilization is a way of adjusting the cost of a task to allow for the time that the person is being paid but not actually doing things that are productive. Tell me more. Productivity and utilization factors are important in deriving the total project cost and schedule estimates. Failure to use them could result in otherwise good estimates being off by as much as 40% or even more. Failure to manage them properly could result in demoralizing the entire project team. Productivity is a measure of how productive one person is when compared to a normal person. The normal person is a hypothetical person who works at a pace that is not abnormally fast or abnormally slow. This is a concept we inherit from industrial engineers whose job it is to manage factory people. Since most factory workers perform the same task over and over again, the industrial engineer is very concerned with being as close as possible to the actual cost. The productivity factor is an adjustment to the time that it takes a person to do work when compared to a normal person. In the industrial environment, it would not be fair to measure everyone's work in comparison to that of someone who is abnormally fast or slow. Although the idea of productivity has its roots in factory operations, it is significant to project management as well. It is difficult to measure a person's productivity accurately in project work because the nature of projects is that the work is generally not very repetitious. However, it does make sense to adjust cost and schedules depending on who is actually going to do the work. Suppose we have a choice of using John or Mary on a particular task on our project. Mary is very senior and has a lot of experience doing this kind of work. John is new to the company and has never done this kind of work before. Mary receives a much higher salary than John. Mary will most likely get the work assignment completed in a minimum amount of time and make very few mistakes. John will probably take longer to complete the work and make more mistakes doing it. As a project manager doing estimates, we will be faced with many conflicting problems in terms of the resources we can use. We would all like to have the best people on our projects for all the positions we have on the team. Unfortunately, this is not always possible. The needs of other projects should also come into play, and this is one of the important jobs that the functional manager in a matrix organization must face. His or her job is to see to it that the correct and appropriate resource is used in each assignment, and this is not always the one that the project manager feels is the best one for the project. Let us say that Mary has a salary of $125,000 per year, and John has a salary of $40,000 per year. Mary estimates that the task will take her 4 weeks to complete if she works on it full-time. John does not have any idea how long it will take him to do the task, but with help he estimates that it will take him 8 weeks. Checking the schedule, we find that the task in mind has 63 days of total float and 40 days of free float associated with it. Although John's productivity is half of Mary's, it is cost-effective to use John for this task. When early project estimates are put together, we frequently do not know precisely who will be available to do the work when the work is actually scheduled to be done. This is where the normal person concept comes in. The amount of time that should be put into the estimate at this point should be the amount of time that a normal person will take to do the task and the cost of that time. As we become more definitive in our estimating and as the time to actually do the project work comes closer, we should make adjustments in our cost and schedule estimates to reflect the person who will actually be doing the work. At the point the person who will do the work is identified, the cost of that person to the project and the estimated time that the task will take should be recognized. Utilization becomes important to project managers as well. Remember that utilization is the adjustment factor to correct for the fact that everyone is paid to work a certain number of hours in a day, say 8 hours, but that no one actually works that many hours in a day. Everyone has interruptions, visits from an immediate boss, coffee breaks, telephone calls, calls of nature, meetings in the hall on the way to and from the calls of nature or the coffee machine, and many others.